What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Booba Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Dillian Whyte is pretty much scrapping the idea. Him and Eddie Hearn are scrapping the idea of fighting Anthony Joshua April 13th at Wembley Stadium, citing that it's too short a time. Eddie Hearn offered Dillian Whyte three other possible opponents should the Anthony Joshua fight not go through, which Eddie Hearn is stating that he's excited and it gets the wheels turning when he hears the possibility of Anthony Joshua making his U.S. debut. He says if you want to be a global star, now Eddie Hearn is rebuttaling what everybody else been saying. We've been saying for Anthony Joshua to be a global star, he can't just fight over in the UK. Everybody dragged their feet and dropped anchors when we were saying it, and Lennox Lewis say it, and Carl Frampton and Carl Frotz say it, and Ricky Hatton say it, and Vander Holyfield, and Bluebird Sports TV, and people from the LDBC, my brothers from the LDBC, and new media say that you got to be a global star. To be a global star, you must come over and fight in the States. And everybody denied it. No, he don't have to. Why he got to come fight in the States? Why he got to do that? Why he could fight in the UK? He doing 80,000 seats in the UK. Well, guess what? To all you UK fans that was defending Anthony Joshua and his notion, guess what? Now Eddie Hearn is coming out and stating that in order for Anthony Joshua to be a global star, he has to come stateside and fight. This is what we've been saying. This is what we've been saying. So now Eddie Hearn is coming out and he's stating that, oh, in order for Anthony Joshua to be a global star, he got to come stateside. It's the perfect opponent. They feel like they have the perfect opponent in Jarrell Big Baby Miller to make their U.S. debut, and he should feel a certain kind of way because they feel like he's the perfect roadblock in the street. He's the perfect tune-up. He's the perfect exhibition bout to make Anthony Joshua's pro debut. So Jarrell Big Baby Miller, if you're listening, they feel like they're gonna use you as a stepping stone to further bring up the status of Anthony Joshua global, right, in your backyard in the States. So Jarrell Big Baby Miller should feel real offended about this, right? Not to mention the fact that he turned down $50 million to come stateside to fight Deontay Wilder. He could have came to the States and fight Deontay Wilder, and that would have made him a huge global star. So why now you want to come to the States and fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller? Because you feel the opportunity is right. It's opportunist, right? It's just like they paid for a belt from stating that in order for them to get a title shot, they would have to pay for a belt. So that's why they paid Charles Martin, overpaid Charles Martin. So they're reporting now, people are saying that they paid Charles Martin almost $8.6 million. And Anthony Joshua only received $1 million for that fight. Right? So with that said, so you overpaid Charles Martin. He was willing to take that much less to face Charles Martin, but he wasn't willing to do so. He wasn't willing to sell his soul, as he says. Anthony Joshua says he wasn't willing to sell his soul for $50 million, but he sold his soul for $7 million or $8 million, right? Because that's the difference that that separated him and Charles Martin, right? So he was willing to do that for an IBF vacant strap versus an opponent that you felt comfortable beating, but you wasn't willing to do that with an opponent such as Deontay Wilder because you didn't even feel confident that you could beat him, right? We understand. And so with that said, Dillian Whyte has now been offered Dominic Brazil. He's been offered Luis Ortiz, and he's been offered Alexander Povetkin, right? Don't know if Dillian Whyte is going to take it. Dillian Whyte is saying basically he's not taking April 13th. He said that they're not serious about fighting him. They wasn't serious about fighting Deontay Wilder nor Tyson Fury. Says that they all along he felt like they was looking to face Jarrell Big Baby Miller in the statesides all along, and they were stringing them along in negotiations. This is what it's funny, right? Ironically, this is the same thing Tyson Fury said about his offer, and this is the same thing Deontay Wilder was saying. Now you have three different people, but I guess all three different people just have an agenda against Anthony Joshua. As Eddie Hearn stated that, you know, they all in collusion to freeze out Anthony Joshua, right? So Dillian Whyte is now coming out stating that all along he knew, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua knew that they had plans to come stateside to fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller, right? But they were stringing him along as a plan B, right? This is what Deontay Wilder said when he stated all along they knew they was fighting Alexander Povetkin, but they was using Deontay Wilder to bolster that situation and as a plan B, right? So everybody, at some point in time, right, you got to stop blaming everybody. When you get 4 different people saying, 4 different people from 4 different places saying the same thing about you, at some point in time, it's not them, it's you, right? At some point in time, people need to come to grips and understand it's not everybody else. It's Joshua and Eddie Hearn, right? And Eddie Hearn is just being a promoter. At this point, it seems like Anthony Joshua is just being a puppet. Or is it that Anthony Joshua is just laid back and letting Eddie Hearn take the blunt of the criticism? That's a strong possibility, right? So Dillian Whyte says that he's scrapping April 13th. So April 13th is looking like it's not coming to fruition for Anthony Joshua, nor does he want it. It's looking more and more like Jarrell Big Baby Miller, June 1st at Madison Square Garden. And Dillian Whyte has been offered the likes of Dominic Breazeale, Luis Ortiz, and Alexander Povetkin. Funny, why isn't Luis Ortiz an opponent, an option for Anthony Joshua? He's an option for Dillian Whyte, but he's not an option for Anthony Joshua. Why is that? Because the perceived threat that Luis Ortiz has. Why you can't fight Luis King Kong Ortiz stateside? You see what I'm saying? But we know what it is, man. But that's all I got for y'all, man. They saying that Anthony Joshua is looking to make his decision over the weekend, so we'll see what happens, man. But that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media, bro. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.